Hi, I'm Mike McMahon, the showrunner and creator of Star Trek Lower Decks, and you are watching TrekCulture.
Hello, how are you? Seán here for TrekCulture, and I am coming at you with some news from a very unusual place where I don't normally spend time. I'm actually in an airport at the moment because this is how quickly we were able to get this news to you. I was somewhere in the air. So that's not as important right now. I'll come back to that, where in the world is Seán Ferrick this week? No, what's important is that we finally have the premiere date for Star Trek Discovery's 5th and final season. That is correct. April the 4th, 2024, we are getting not one, but 2 episodes of Star Trek Discovery. That's right, we're getting 2 episodes in one, and I'm not sure how I feel about it because it's the last season. So the more that we get in one go, the less weeks we have left. But okay, I'm not going to worry about that for the moment. So the first 2 episodes are called The Red Directive and Under the Twin Moons. Yes, I did have to check that, Subi. With the poster that's just come out, we see Pride of Place obviously going to Captain Michael Burnham, and rightly so. We see Book is pretty front and center there as well. We have Saru, we have Culber, you've got Stamets, you've got Tilly, and you've got Adira as well. So it looks like the whole family is back together again for season 5. Now, that's been more or less confirmed that Tilly is going to be back because we know that season 4 saw her instructing at the Academy, but then she was in several episodes at Starfleet headquarters as well. So, we've kind of been wondering, how is she going to get back? There was an interview just before the Saturn Awards that Doug Jones gave that suggested that Tilly is in fact back more or less full-time on the bridge of Discovery. On this poster as well, around our main characters, there's a ring of blue text. Now, it wasn't immediately familiar to me, so we've had people, doing what we can to check it out and see if we recognize it, and we haven't really come up with anything, kind of concrete yet. So take everything I'm about to say with just wild speculation. We do know that part of this season is going to be in search of an ancient artifact of unimaginable power. Sure, it wouldn't be Discovery if it wasn't. And we've got to think, we've been thinking before, is it going to be one of the ancient races of the galaxy? Frankly, I haven't seen what the Q handwriting is like, but I'm trying to think, what are the ones we know nothing about, but we know are huge, have huge histories in Star Trek? You've got like the Takan Empire. They recently came back in that game Star Trek Resurgence. You've got the Iconian Empire as well, who played a massive role in Star Trek Online. Is this going to be the return of one of those races, or are we going to finally meet them for the first time? And I say finally because technically we haven't met the Takan yet. We just met one of their holographic dudes. So I'm going to stick to that statement. In the middle of all of this, I do want to bring attention to there has been a lot of upheaval at Paramount Pictures in recent times. As recently as this weekend, 800 staff were laid off. And now that makes things look very unsettled, and that makes things look very unsure for the future. So quite frankly, we don't know what this means for Star Trek going forward. We would like to think that things like, we know Lower Deck Season 5 is fairly secure. We know Star Trek Strange New World Season 3 is fairly secure. We know things like Section 31, obviously that's underway. So things like that, where we have fairly convinced to say that that's all fine. In that recent interview with Doug Jones on the red carpet outside the Saturn Awards, he was being interviewed about what Saru's role would be in Season 5. But actually I'm going to jump to the end of that interview where they were talking about actually Tilly. And Tilly seems to be back on the Discovery, having left to go to Starfleet Academy and come back again. What could this mean? And Doug said about Starfleet Academy, oh yeah, I hear that's in our timeline. So that doesn't fill me with an awful lot of confidence that Saru's going to be making an appearance in the pilot episode anyway, but we don't know yet because it hasn't started filming. So we don't know at what stage it's at, how many scripts are written, if indeed any scripts are finalized. But that was just quite funny, and I was like, oh, okay, that could mean anything, it could mean nothing, or it could just be classic misdirection, Hollywood style. In a recent interview with CinemaBlend, Sonequa Martin Green spoke about the challenges and all of the effort that went into finishing Season 5 the way that they wanted to finish it. Because, of course, as we all know, when they started filming Season 5, it was just season 5. It wasn't the final season, and then quite suddenly it became the final season. She described it as everyone coming together, pulling crazy hours, jumping back into the makeup, jumping back into costume, traveling, and getting this finale done. She said that she was incredibly proud of the work that had gone in to putting a perfect epilogue on this show. That makes me feel quite happy, quite confident to hear that, because you can tell in any interview with Sonequa Margarine ever, you can tell that this person cares about this show. And that extends into the cast as well. Of course it does. And it was funny because if you take it then in contrast to, say, that same interview with Doug Jones, there was an interesting wording he used, which was, it was about this epilogue, that he says tacked on. You know, that it was tacked on to the end to create the finale. Now, I think that was just, you know, a turn of phrase as opposed to anything else. But you see, we're at that stage where every single thing that gets said is getting picked up and analysed and cross-analysed, and, you know, hello, here we are in an airport doing this. So I still choose to be very, very optimistic about this. I think there's enough care and effort that will have gone into this that we will get, you know, we will get a finale that, if it might not be as satisfying as if we knew the full season was going to be the last season, it will still be something that will finish the show properly. Sticking with the topic of Saru, the sort of pointlessness, if you like, of having a captain on the bridge of Discovery with a captain for the first officer. And I mean, this is something that we all kind of picked up on, you know, going into season 4. It's like, what's the point of having 2 captains? Now, it's not like it's not without precedent. Hello, Captains Kirk and Spock on the bridge of the Enterprise. He did say that this season, Saru is going to get asked to do a new job, something that he finds to be a very dignified role for him, a job within Starfleet. Okay, so he's going to be an ambassador. I'm calling it right now, Ambassador Saru of Kaminar. And it means he'll get to spend more time with Ambassador Tarina of Nivar as well. That could only be good. Now, I wonder as well about, you know, Under the Twin Moons. You know, I think that's a reference to Nivar. So, I mean, we've been speculating again that this season is going to be the season that really gets into the weeds about what really is happening on Nivar, what happened with the Romulan Free State in the years since the Romulan supernova, perhaps what caused the Romulan supernova as well, because Star Trek Picard, well, quite frankly, it got busy with other storylines, so it never really covered those, considering how big a storyline it was in Picard's first season. I would really like to see it because it's a fascinating storyline, and so far it's only been a catalyst. You know, it was the catalyst of the 2009 film, it was the catalyst of Star Trek Picard. We haven't seen it explored in any great depth. Now, I'm pulling from beta canon here. This goes back to, I've got Iconians on the brain now, you see, with this ancient text on the poster. And in Star Trek Online, I believe that they have explained the Romulan supernova was caused by a scientist who was attempting to contact the Iconians. Could this all come together? Either way, I'm just looking forward to seeing that. If that is the case, what will Romulan Starfleet Captain Caleb Keith Rennie, because I just love his name, do with that information? I am looking forward as well to, it's clearly going to be, obviously, it's a story arc, as they always are, but this one is going to be slightly more episodic, you know, a bit more in the vein of Strange New Worlds. Not as much in the vein of Strange New Worlds, but definitely closer to that. And I'd like that as well. At this point, I think in the game with Star Trek Discovery, it doesn't really matter. You know, as in, because it's not going to affect the longevity of the show, sad to say. But I'd like to see them experiment with that and see just how it suits. And, you know, if it finds out that that was the perfect thing that Discovery should have done all along, well, sure, at least we got that lesson by the end. Maybe it might not suit. You never know, because it's so serialized, this show. It might not suit it at all. What are you looking forward to the most? What has this poster awakened inside you? Where on earth do you think I will be the next time I record one of these? Honestly, I'm shocked I got away with this one, because halfway through, somebody wheeled away the cart I have my camera on. And they were right to do it. They were right to do it. Let us know what you think in the comments below. You're awesome, you're wonderful. I have been Seán Ferrick with TrekCulture. You can follow us on TrekCulture at Twitter and the various socials. You can follow me at Seán Ferrick on Twitter and the various socials as well. Until I see you again, wherever you are, wherever I am, whatever's going on in the world, look after yourself. That's the most important thing. Mwah. You're beautiful. Live long and prosper.